Alright, here's a basic antenna setup. We got the dipole, so the coax is coming down here. It's going to wind up getting fed into the RV. And then we got, I believe, this is going to be the positive side of the antenna, and this is the negative side of the antenna. Which essentially means this wire is going directly into this coax here. And that's what the electricity is coming through. This is just a radial, or something that kind of helps direct the radiation, if you will. So we could set it up in a inverted V, where it's kind of like that, sort of a deal. Or we could set it up in like an L shape. Can't really hold the camera and show you, but one would go up like this, and then the other one would come out like that. There's all kinds of different configurations, but what I basically did was just strung a cord up into the tree there, and that's just hanging, and it's connected to the antenna by a totally separate wire here, so it's kind of its own fixed weight, totally fine to be. We could tug on it if we had to. This, preferably don't tug on it. It's going in here and it's soldered to the connector thing, so we don't want to rip it out, but there is knots in the wire to help prevent it from getting ripped out from inside there. Wire's not crazy long, and nothing too specific about how it's connected. As a matter of fact, the way you measure the frequency that you're going to be on simply is determined by where this bend is. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy, and you just wrap it around, and essentially now the new length of the wire is here rather than having to cut it. It's not the most efficient way to do it. It's not perfect, but it gets the job done. Each of these I just have a cord hanging on. That'll allow me to change the positioning of the antenna all kinds of different ways and see exactly, you know, based off of the sky here and who I wind up talking to, where that particular antenna configuration best reaches. So, you know, you just kind of got to do your due diligence and make notes every which way. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to see exactly how high this antenna's gone. So I'm going to pause the video and show you here in a second just how high it goes. Or maybe I'll show you how, show you it rising. Got the antenna cord up there by the little football here, picked up at Goodwill for $1. And it whistles. So if somebody happens to be walking where you're throwing your antenna setup up, maybe it'll give them a little bit of a heads up before they get hit in the head. But yeah, I mean, essentially, I can just pull on this cord and the antenna should rise. Easy enough. Now, if you notice, there's all kinds of debris and whatnot, which is the reason why I wanted that wire that it's connected to be totally separate. Now, as I drag the coax over the branches, it will pull on the connector here, and these could pull on it as well. And if this is getting pulled and if this is getting pulled, then essentially it's just kind of like getting pulled out of there. So what I'd want to do to be is I'm just going to grab the whole setup here, and that's the trail. I'm just going to walk this way, and that should give me some clearance so that instead of it dragging up against all the branches, it can kind of just float, you know, like Pennywise. They all float down here. Alright, so that's about as high as I want to put it for right this second. So I'm just going to kind of tie it off somehow. I don't think it really needs to be anything crazy. It's not going to stay here. So I'm just going to kind of do that and maybe wrap it a couple times and maybe through here. That's not gonna work. All right, what about? It's kind of hard to do with just one hand. Ah, here we go. Boom. That works. But there's dogs and goats on the property, so I'm gonna kind of stick it back in there. There we go. There, perfectly safe. All right, so that's it, kind of up just a little bit higher. And I've already got this tied up to there. It's just kind of loosely fit. And remember, that's supposed to be the negative side. And then this one, the positive side, the way I've had it set up before was up on this post, at the top of that post. Oop. I'm getting tangled up around the deal here. All right, so yeah, so we can make, and the way we had it like that was kind of like that, sort of inverted triangle. I mean, theoretically, you could just let the wires hang like that and talk on it as well, but the most effective setup that you would be talking to is another setup like that, and most people don't have them set up like that because it's not the most effective way. So yeah, I'm gonna pause it, I'm gonna tinker with it, I'll let y'all see what happens here whenever I get done. But ultimately, this coax, the thick coax that's going to the radio, what I did before, and I kind of like, is I put it over the slide out on the RV, and it comes right down here into this window, and that's the radio is just on the other side of this window. It's kind of like the radio room. So yeah, the antenna will be up there. Where is it on the screen? I can't see nothing. So yeah, the antenna's here. It'll be able to potentially come up to over here, I think. Coax will come down, just kind of like it's being wired into the house. Should look pretty cool. It did before. We'll see how it goes. I'll see you in a bit.